I don't know where, I don't know what...
There was already crisis in your family, there was already divisions, she was already being hounded, so...
It's impossible to say where we would be now, where those relationships would be now, but there is no way that the distance between my brother and I would be the same. I thought that the four of us would bring me and William closer together. We could go out and do work together before it was Meghan, whoever it was going to be. I always hoped that the four of us would get on, but very quickly it became Meghan versus Kate.
Prince Harry thought he could still show up to big events, walk the red carpet, and act like nothing's wrong. But not this time. His own brother, Prince William, has reportedly banned him from the 2025 BAFTA Awards. And no, this wasn't about safety or drama with the press. This decision came straight from William himself. After all the TV interviews, that Netflix series, and all the things Harry said about the royal family, William's had enough. No more invites, no more smiling for the cameras. Just a clear message. You're not welcome anymore. Now the question is, was this just a royal snub? Or is Prince William finally drawing the line after years of public attacks?
Prince Harry has accused his brother, Prince William, of physically attacking him. The claim is made in his new tell-all book called Spare. The title is a reference to his position in the royal family. The king's first son is called the heir, the second, the spare. Prince Harry claims that he and his brother argued over those roles in a meeting in 2019.
This isn't the first time things have gotten bad between Prince Harry and Prince William. In his book Spare, Harry shared a moment from 2019 where he says William actually grabbed him, ripped his necklace, and pushed him to the floor during an argument.
Harry says that his brother swore at him and then, quote, "He grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace, and he knocked me to the floor." He says that Prince William later apologised, but he asked Harry not to tell Meghan. And in another leak from the book, Prince Harry says that the Prince and Princess of Wales encouraged him to wear a Nazi uniform.
It happened at Harry's place, Nottingham Cottage. They were arguing about Meghan, and William called her difficult and rude. Harry says things got heated, and he ended up falling onto a dog bowl that cracked under his back. He didn't fight back, but he was clearly hurt, both physically and emotionally. And now, Harry is absolutely furious after hearing that William has banned him from the 2025 BAFTA Awards.
That was partly the press's fault, Harry said, but also because Meghan was not made to feel welcome by William and Kate.
And some of the things that my brother and sister-in-law, some of the way that they were acting or behaving.
What do you mean specifically?
Harry had grown up watching these awards on television, seeing his brother William serve as president of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, BAFTA, since 2010. Over the years, William and Kate had attended many ceremonies, often sharing the stage to hand out awards. In 2024 alone, BAFTA reported over 9.8 million viewers tuning in across the UK to watch red carpet arrivals and the ceremony itself. Harry had imagined himself joining that group one day too, especially after his work with Invictus Games and various film projects. Instead, William's influence behind the scenes had quietly ensured his brother's name would not appear on any guest list.
Do you speak to William now? Do you text?
Currently, no.
The BAFTA Awards typically see attendance from more than 1,200 guests, including actors, directors, and high-profile sponsors. BAFTA reported a 15% increase in ticket demand from international guests in 2023, reflecting its growing global appeal. Losing the chance to walk that carpet, to mingle with industry figures, and spotlight his own charitable projects felt like losing a symbolic foothold in British life. In 2025, BAFTA expected an audience of around 10.2 million viewers in the UK, and numerous millions more around the world through streaming partners. Harry knew that if he had attended, his appearance would have made headlines.
It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me, and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother, quietly sit there and sort of take it all in. But you have to understand that from a family's perspective, especially from hers.
Part of what stung so much was that Harry had already been involved in the entertainment industry since moving to California in 2020. He had signed a multi-million-dollar deal with a leading streaming service to produce documentary series and films. According to industry sources, his production company invested over $5 million in a documentary about veteran mental health issues, which premiered to 3.4 million viewers in its first week and received a 92% approval rating on review aggregators. He had attended film festivals and smaller award ceremonies, building credibility among filmmakers and producers. The BAFTAs would have been a natural progression, his first major British event. But when the news broke that William had used his influence to prevent BAFTA leadership from extending an invitation to Harry, it felt like the door slammed shut. Prince William, speaking in his capacity as president of BAFTA, made clear that his decision to bar his younger brother, Prince Harry, from the 2025 awards was not a matter of seating arrangements or media logistics, but a deeply personal choice. William emphasized that Harry's attendance would have introduced a distraction he could not overlook. This determination stemmed from years of mounting tension between the two brothers, a rift that widened with every public interview, memoir excerpt, and streaming documentary to emerge in recent times.
How long has it been since you spoke?
A while.
Do you speak to your dad?
We haven't spoken for quite a while. No, not recently.
Can you see a day when you would return as a full-time member of the royal family?
No, I can't see that happening.
William began by recalling the close bond they once shared as children, growing up side by side, exploring the palace gardens, learning royal protocols together, and dreaming of serving their country in tandem. Over time, however, that brotherly closeness gave way to friction. Harry's candid discussions of their childhood and comments about their upbringing, especially those contained in his memoir Spare, struck William as betrayals of trust. In William's view, Harry had crossed lines that a family simply does not cross, revealing private conversations and personal struggles in a manner that William felt was fundamentally unfair.
Do you think of how, do you sort of mentally or spiritually ask for help as to, what can I do to fix this? Any advice she might give you in this moment?
I've said quite a lot recently in these in different interviews that I've been doing.
It was not a snap decision. William described how he watched Harry's televised interviews, listened to his recollections of arguments and incidents, and felt a growing sense of unease. When Harry partnered with Netflix on a series that peeled back the curtain on life within the royal family, William perceived it as yet another layer of intrusion. He believed that certain moments, once shared in confidence, had been transformed into entertainment. As the older brother, William felt it was his responsibility to protect not only the institution of the monarchy, but also the sanctity of private family moments. That protectiveness translated into a zero-tolerance approach to potential public confrontations, especially at an event as high-profile as the BAFTA Awards.
William and Harry's relationship with the media was formed fundamentally from their childhood and their experiences of their mother's relationship with the media, and that has absolutely shaped everything about how they both see the media. But we've seen as they both get older how that's manifested itself in different ways and the different paths that they have taken.
By early 2025, as preparations for the awards were underway, William learned that Harry intended to attend. Harry saw the ceremony as an opportunity for a quiet comeback, an appearance that would keep the focus on his work and philanthropy rather than the headlines that had swirled around him. Sources close to Harry suggested he hoped to use the event as a way to re-establish his presence in Britain, to show that he could coexist with the royals on neutral ground. He believed that a dignified appearance at BAFTA, an institution he respected, could soften the public's view of him and perhaps even mend fences with his brother.
He and the press had been ruthless in their pursuit of the princes. Some reporters accused of hacking into the royal cell phones, dubbing Harry in the early 2000s.
William, however, saw things very differently. As the future king, he understood that every public move carried symbolic weight. To William, Harry's presence at BAFTA would overshadow the talented actors, writers, and filmmakers gathered that evening. He worried that attendees and viewers alike would focus on the uneasy family drama rather than the artistry being celebrated. Worse still, William feared that any brief encounter between the brothers, no matter how polite or outwardly calm, could reignite old wounds. A snub in the hallway, a curt gif, or even a simple nod could be blown out of proportion by the press.
Between Princes William and Harry, but now a new book says that it was William who broke up the Fab Four because he was angry at Meghan's alleged bullying.
Despite the many calls urging William to reconsider, he held firm. He admitted that he felt betrayed, not just by Harry's public revelations, but by a series of events that he felt demonstrated a lack of respect for their shared history. First came the remark about William's encouragement to wear the Nazi costume to a party. Harry insisted William and Kate had insisted he wear it, while William maintained he had never done such a thing. Those conflicting accounts, relayed to millions, left William feeling wounded and publicly humiliated. He He allowed that Harry had suffered missteps of his own, but he believed that in airing these grievances so publicly, Harry had crossed a line.
You know, my father, my brother, Kate, and all the rest of the family, they were really welcoming. But it really changed after the Australia tour, after our South Pacific tour.
So are you saying that there were hints of jealousy?
Look, I just wish that we would all learn from the past.
Next came Harry's repeated attacks on the institution of the monarchy itself, statements that, in William's eyes, were direct attacks on their father, King Charles, and on William's own role as heir. In interviews, Harry characterized William as cold and unsympathetic, and he recounted stories of William criticizing Harry's habits and telling him he was a bother. To William, these were intimate details that should have stayed behind palace walls. He reflected that nothing about royalty was stranger than family disputes laid bare in Global View, where every offhand comment became grist for tabloids.
The dominant narratives have either been that this was about their divergent paths or that this was about Harry and Meghan's bid for freedom. But actually, this book is now saying that it was William who made a very decisive decision not to work with the Sussex.
William then considered the subtle messages those interviews sent. Each time Harry's words resurfaced the past, it forced William to relive moments he had moved on from, moments he assumed were private. William recalled how, when they were both training for military service, Harry had critiqued William's lecturing style, calling him rigid. Yet these criticisms appeared to William as resentful jabs rather than constructive feedback. The more Harry spoke, the more William felt that their conversations were less about brotherly honesty and more about undermining William's confidence and sense of duty. By the time BAFTA preparations reached a critical stage, William felt the situation had reached an impasse. In his view, there was no space for personal grievances at a ceremony built to honor the very best of film and television. He thought that if Harry walked the red carpet, the narrative would shift from celebrating artistic achievement to dissecting their broken bond. William did not want cameras capturing a tense handshake or a forced smile. He wanted emphasis to remain on the actors and directors who had poured their hearts into their craft.
New headlines from Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. Harry writes that he was physically attacked by his brother during a tense fight. And Michael, you just sat down with him.
I sure did, George. Prince Harry and I sat down to talk about his book and his relationship with Prince William, who he calls his, quote, beloved brother.
William also considered the security aspect. While Harry had agreed to some security protocols, William believed that Harry's presence would still necessitate an enhanced security detail. That detail could be a costly distraction for BAFTA and for taxpayers if any royal protection was provided. Even more importantly, William felt that any event where Harry appeared would draw hundreds of photographers, reporters and onlookers, turning a private awards ceremony into a media circus. William repeatedly reminded himself that as president of BAFTA, his duty was to protect the dignity of the institution. He felt that meant making tough decisions, even when they involved family.
Publishing an excerpt, it says, is from his upcoming book, detailing an alleged attack by his brother Prince William during a heated confrontation over Harry's wife Meghan.
Royal insiders reported that William's message to Harry was clear. This was not a personal vendetta, but a necessary boundary. He made it known that if Harry wished to attend BAFTA in the future, he would have to adhere to strict guidelines, release agreements preventing unauthorized interviews, and commit to focusing solely on the event's purpose, to honor creative excellence. Harry, according to sources, believed this was an unreasonable ask, interpreting it as William's broader aim to keep him out of the public eye and out of the family spotlight. Harry's camp, in turn, grew increasingly frustrated. They held that the BAFTA stage was a chance to showcase Harry's charitable work and his own media projects that aimed to inspire people. Harry felt that he had worked hard to establish his own identity, separate from the palace. He had grown his foundation, spoken about mental health, and supported veterans. To him, BAFTA was more than a red carpet. It was an opportunity to demonstrate growth and positive change. He believed he deserved a platform to share that with the British audience, particularly after years of feeling alienated from the royal fold.
Royal households representing the Queen, Prince Charles, and Prince William releasing a joint statement to the BBC saying a free, responsible, and open press is of vital importance to a healthy democracy. However, too often, overblown and unfounded claims from unnamed sources are presented as facts.
Yet William remained steadfast. In public, he addressed the decision with composed formality. He emphasized that BAFTA was a sanctuary for the arts, a place where personal drama should not eclipse creative talent. Privately, though, He admitted to close confidence that he felt wounded by Harry's memoir, by Harry's criticisms of their shared family, and by Harry's perceived unwillingness to seek reconciliation away from the cameras. William feared that even if there were moments of genuine brotherly warmth on the BAFTA red carpet, those moments would be overshadowed by rumors of who had spoken to whom and who had turned away. He did not want a rival headline that reduced the evening's purpose to yet another family dispute. Within the royal household, aides and courtiers quietly discussed the broader impact. They wondered aloud how this decision would affect the monarchy's public image. They respected William's desire to uphold order and focus on duty. On the other, they worried that excluding Harry could be seen as cutting off one of their own, deepening perceptions of a fractured family. Some suggested a private meeting might have been preferable, an invitation to Harry to sit down with William and discuss things quietly. But William believed that past attempts at private conversations had been overshadowed by leaks. He felt that any meeting risked becoming public, which would defeat the purpose. What do you think about Prince William's decision to keep Prince Harry off the BAFTA carpet? Was it a necessary move to protect the monarchy, or a step too far for family loyalty? Share your thoughts in the comments below.